Welcome to this Champion Spotlight. Introducing Jack, the Nightmare Thief. Jack is a spooky support with a ton of utility who can alter the effects of his abilities and adapt his strategy to keep his allies alive while whittling down enemy champions. Jack's kit has a unique mechanic called Terror, which impacts each of his abilities in a different way. Jack starts the game with 5 stacks of Terror and also respawns after dying with 5 stacks. Stacks are consumed with each ability he casts, so players must carefully manage their Terror in order to maximize Jack's utility. Jack's first ability is Heads Up. Jack hurls his head at an enemy for damage. If Jack has Terror, the impact damages nearby enemies. When combined with Terror, Heads Up's AoE impact can deal a substantial amount of damage to multiple enemies, but be careful how you aim. Missing the initial projectile will also prevent the AoE damage from triggering. Without Terror, Heads Up is still a useful tool for poking down enemy champions. Jack's second ability is Contraption. Jack throws ectoplasm, damaging an enemy. If Jack has Terror, Smokestack spawns and damages a nearby enemy. Contraption is Jack's best ability for single target damage. Both the projectile and Smokestack do a fair amount of damage. If placed well, Smokestack can also be used to absorb enemy projectiles for a short duration and decrease the amount of damage the enemy team is able to land on you and your allies. Jack's next ability is Soul Riot. Jack heals allies in a target area. If Jack has Terror, he summons a pumpkin patch that heals multiple allies. With and without Terror, players should be careful how they aim Soul Riot. A well-placed Soul Riot without Terror can heal multiple allies in one burst. But the empowered version of the ability also spawns a larger, immobile field, which heals over time. Depending on the situation, Jack can either place Soul Riot's smaller radius to heal a burst of health, or he can place a larger radius to heal his allies over time in a broader area. Soul Riot's healing is maximized when both the smaller and larger radii are able to heal allies for the entire duration. Next up is Foolery. Jack attacks in a cone, debuffing enemy resistance. If Jack has Terror, an evil entity attacks nearby enemies, snaring and debuffing their resistance. If Jack can land the debuff from Foolery at the beginning of a team fight, it will allow his allies to burst down enemies even more quickly. Additionally, Evil Entity slows enemies while it's attacking them, which can be very useful for chasing down low-health enemies. Like Contraption, Foolery's spawn can be used as a shield for both allies and yourself, but because Foolery does not require a target, the Evil Entity can be spawned to protect yourself and allies from towers, even with no enemies nearby. Jack's final ability is Empowering Nightmare. Jack damages an enemy, taking their soul and receiving a stack of Terror. This ability should be used as often as possible in order to reacquire Jack's Terror. Jack can gain Terror with Empowering Nightmare from towers, enemies, and even enemy summons. But be careful, sometimes pursuing a stack of Terror can leave you out of position. Jack's biggest challenge comes in managing his stacks of Terror for maximum effectiveness. Since stacks are consumed immediately on casting, players must prioritize their abilities, not only based on in-game timing, but also on which abilities most need Terror to perform their intended function. As a support, Jack works best when assisting an ally, but he is also uniquely equipped to handle a solo lane. The summons from Contraption and Foolery can keep enemies from landing skill shots. Soul Riot can keep Jack alive for an extended time, and Heads Up can be used to poke down enemies at range. Jack also has fairly high damage for a support, so don't be afraid to go aggressive on towers, as long as you have the abilities ready to escape. Jack's talents can drastically affect the way he's played in-game. For a more aggressive role, gain damage at Tier 2, pull targets with Heads Up at Tier 4, and gain a stack of Terror on kill or assist at Tier 10. To better assist allies, add health regeneration to nearby allies at Tier 5. Reduce crowd control by 15% with Soul Riot's Pumpkin Patch at Tier 7. And leave behind Jack's head on death to heal nearby teammates at Tier 9. Thanks for watching this Champion Spotlight. Visit callofchampions.com for the latest news and information.